Hi, this is Reggie York. I'm a professor at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington. This is a presentation on describing the program when you're writing a grant. At the completion of this module, you will be able to describe what you propose to do in order to achieve the objectives of your program or services, what you're going to do, justify what you propose to do. So we're talking about what are you going to do and why. Describing what you will do is the first part of this presentation. The funding source needs to know what kinds of activities will be funded by your program. They want to know what it looks like. Your description should be concrete so that people will recognize your program if they see it. So let's look at these options as two ways to state the nature of your program. One is to focus on communication with marital couples in conflict, or to provide hourly marriage counseling services to marital couples in conflict. What do you think makes more sense? I would say it is the second one. It's more concrete, clear, gives you an idea of what this thing looks like. A program is a set of interdependent activities geared to the accomplishment of a set of objectives. Again, it is what you're going to do. The Child Protective Services program might include the following services or activities. First of all, the investigation of complaints of abuse. You go out and investigate. Secondly, reporting to the legal system, where appropriate, what you found. Next, case management services to families, which might entail a number of different kinds of supportive services and referrals and things of that nature. And last, referrals to social agencies who might help. And that could be also, of course, a part of the case management service. The objectives of the Child Protective Services program might be the prevention of further acts of abuse and the recovery of victims. So we have the program description, and now we have what the program is designed to achieve. Why would we not say that the objective is to provide child protective services? Why not say that? Well, you shouldn't state your objective in terms of a service. You should state it in regard to benefits to people, outcomes, and so forth. Programs have services and they have activities. A program might be considered to be a broad category of something and a service might be smaller. The particular terminology you use will vary a little bit, I think, with the kind of funding source you're using. Simply be cognizant of what kinds of language they're using to describe the thing of what you're going to be doing. The Adolescent Parenting Program may have services such as parent education, support group, and case management. Those might be different kinds of services in that particular program. The Parent Education Service may have activities like initial screening of clients, education classes, and parent skills assessment, or mentoring, or something else. You may be focusing on a major program or a given service when you describe what you're going to be doing in your grant. It might focus on the family violence prevention program in various ways, or just one service of this program, such as the support group for abused women. Either of those is okay, depending on what you need to be doing. In both cases, you're trying to achieve certain objectives through designated activities. You need to convey both of those messages. What are you doing and what are you trying to achieve? Let's talk a little bit about the structure and process. The structure of your service refers to the activities it entails, like counseling sessions, training sessions, tutoring sessions, support group sessions, and so forth. A portrait of what it looks like. It should be clear enough that people will recognize it when they see it in operation. If I see somebody doing a training session, I know what that is. If I see someone doing counseling, I know what that is. If I see someone doing tutoring, I know what that is. The process refers to the steps in the delivery of service, and this may be a way of further clarifying what a particular service looks like. Let's talk a little bit about the episode of service as one concept that may be of use to you in portraying to the grant funding source what it is you're going to be doing. An episode of service entails the activities normally carried out for a given consumer over a typical period of service. Example, family counseling typically entails about 5 one-hour sessions where the client and counselor discuss how to achieve the objectives. That's just one example. Let's give another example. I'm going to stop right now and let you, as a matter of fact, why don't you push the little pause button, read this, and answer the following question. Why do you think we need to define the episode of service? So pause the button right now and read this and answer that question, and then click it back on so you'll hear me talk. Okay, I guess you're back with me. Why describe the service? I'm sorry, I've gotten to the excuse me, why describe the service? I got a little ahead of myself there. Sorry about that. I would say that there are reasons, that the key reason is that you can reveal something about the depth of resources required, and that says something about how much money you're asking for. Funding sources will want to know a little bit about that. Let's talk about describing the personnel. The personnel of your program or service entails the types of people who will deliver the service. What are their qualifications? Now let's talk about how you justify your program. Your program design should be logically tied to the nature of the problem or need it addresses. What is the cause of child abuse, or depression, or substance abuse? Knowing something about that helps you understand how to justify what you're doing because it's logically linked to the causes of your problem, the problem. If child abuse is caused by socio-cultural forces, you should design a program that attempts to change these forces rather than individual things. If it's about society, then obviously the intervention should be focusing on how to change our society. However, if child abuse is caused by psychological problems of the parents, you should design a program that addresses these. How would this be different if you embraced a different theory? If you assume that child abuse is caused by parental inadequacy, how would this change your justified services? Think about it. What kind of services might you deliver if you assume, because of what you know about the dynamics of the problem, that child abuse is caused by parental inadequacy, rather than socio-cultural forces? Obviously, it changes the kinds of things you would be justified in doing. So let's look at this in some detail. If you assume that child abuse is caused by socioeconomic forces like poverty, racism, accepted forms of violence like corporal punishment in schools, what kinds of services might be justified? Would it justify parental counseling or advocacy for outlawing corporal punishment, or both? I would say that particular statement would only justify advocacy for outlawing corporal punishment. There's nothing in that suggesting that parental counseling would address societal problems. There might be research justification. For example, research shows that teen mothers differ from more experienced mothers as follows. They have less smiling and less positive eye contact. They have less physical contact. They talk less to their babies. This is how teen mothers are different from more experienced mothers, according to research. Would this justify a parent modeling intervention? I think so. A parent would model those kinds of behaviors to help teach the teen mother how to be a mother. Would this justify sermonizing with teen mothers on why they should be better parents? I don't think so. How will you document your services? The amount of service can be measured in regard to such things as number of clients served, possibly classified according to selected characteristics, number of units of service delivered, such as the number of counseling sessions, number of training sessions, number of child abuse investigations completed. Those are different ways that a unit of service might be designated. But the unit of service gives you an idea of the product you're delivering, so that one might look at, for example, the cost per counseling session and compare that to others as a way of examining efficiency. Other things, given the nature of your proposal and the funding source, you may need to supply a timeline of activities as the program gets developed and delivered. Also, the logic model, which will be talked about later in the course, portrays the connection between the services offered and the documentation of the results. This is the end of the presentation. I hope this was helpful to you.